This is the allegation no one was supposed to hear. The whisper, so radioactive, it was meant to float in the shadows forever until now. A claim so explosive, it doesn't just rewrite a family feud, it incinerates it. And at the center of this storm is Meghan Markle, her father Thomas Markle, and a revelation Lady Colin Campbell says she carried like a live grenade, afraid to drop it, terrified to repeat it, but unable to ignore it. Lady Colin wasn't chasing gossip when this landed in her lap. She was researching, writing, digging through timelines and testimonies for her book in January 2020, right after Thomas Markle's televised interview shook public sympathy. That's when the phone rang. And according to Lady Colin, the voice on the other end wasn't confident, wasn't smug, wasn't hungry for headlines. It was embarrassed, ashamed, reluctant. Someone close to Meghan and Harry. Someone who didn't want their name attached to what they were about to unleash.
When I was writing Meghan and Harry, the real story, it would have been January 2020. Thomas Markle appeared on, I think it was ITV. And right afterwards, I got a phone call from a very good friend of mine who is very closely connected to Meghan and Harry. I can't say more than that because we're speaking about household names.
The source didn't dance around it. They dropped it bluntly. Harry, they claimed, had told people that Meghan said her father interfered with her when she was young. A loaded phrase that carries only one meaning. Abuse. Not neglect, not emotional distance, abuse. This wasn't rumor layered on rumor. This was secondhand, but devastating. And Lady Colin knew exactly what kind of bomb she was holding. Publish it and she risks legal annihilation. Ignore it and the truth rots in silence. She chose caution. She did not chase Meghan for confirmation. She did not print it. She buried it not because it wasn't serious, but because it was too serious without Meghan's own words.
I was so embarrassed that they couldn't actually get it out at first. So I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't elicit information from you. You need to cough it up cleanly. And finally they spluttered out that Harry had said that, according to Meghan, her father interfered with her, which I gather is a British way of saying something that in America they say slightly differently.
That decision matters because from that moment forward, everything about Meghan's behavior toward her father takes on a darker, more calculated shape. Silence isn't just distance. Estrangement isn't just boundaries. It becomes strategic disappearance. Thomas Markle's life didn't freeze in time while Meghan rose. His health collapsed, a stroke, then another, then the amputation of his leg, a man deteriorating in public view, and still not one visit, not one reconciliation. Instead, claims of being broke, claims of being unable to travel, claims that strain credulity when weighed against private jets, global appearances, and luxury living. What followed was a surgical erasure. Meghan didn't just step back from her father, she edited him out of her narrative entirely. First, the paparazzi photo scandal, then the letter, then the public rupture. Each incident framed as the final straw. Each one, critics argue, suspiciously convenient. This wasn't an impulsive cutoff. It was a slow tightening of the noose. Lady Colin suggests Meghan waited. She let minor mistakes stack up.
I had the challenge of including it in the book in such a way that they wouldn't be able to try to muzzle me.
She allowed circumstances to collide. And when the moment was perfect, when sympathy could be weaponized, she severed the relationship completely. Thomas Markle himself believes the paparazzi incident wasn't an accident at all. He has said he thinks it was set up, coordinated with photographer Jeff Rayner, to manufacture an excuse to block him from attending the royal wedding. A clean break disguised as moral outrage. And here's where the story turns cruelly ironic. Because Thomas Markle didn't just raise Meghan. He funded her, supported her, elevated. Reports suggest he paid for her first wedding, a lavish multi-day affair in Jamaica, allegedly cashing out stocks to make it happen. The man, now portrayed as disposable, once financed the lifestyle Meghan enjoyed before royalty entered the picture. She praised him for decades, publicly, enthusiastically, 36 years of gratitude. Then suddenly, the script flipped. Meghan recast herself as self-made, alone, unsupported. The father who lifted her vanished from her origin story. And that's where the unspoken allegation starts to hover like smoke.
Meghan Markle's estranged father had his leg amputated last week. He is sitting in it. He's in an ICU in the Philippines.
Because some believe this isn't the end of the narrative, it's the setup. That the next chapter, once Thomas is gone, could be even more damning. Claims that he introduced her to dangerous circles, that he exposed her to exploitation, that proximity to wealth and power wasn't opportunity, it was trauma. Lady Colin doesn't claim Meghan has said this. She claims Meghan doesn't have to. The strategy she suggests is distance with implication. Let intermediaries float the idea, let commentators speculate. Let rumors metastasize. Stay silent, then deny authorship once it spreads. Thomas Markle knows. His other children know. And they are horrified. They can't understand why reconciliation was never attempted, even when illness should have softened everything. They wonder if this buried accusation is the real reason the door stayed locked for years. Because once an allegation like this enters public consciousness, it never fully leaves. Even unproven, even whispered, even implied. And according to Lady Colin, that's exactly the danger. She has urged Thomas to protect himself legally, permanently, by recording a sworn denial before it's too late.
You know, the truth is, she, according to Thomas Markle, he told me that he believes that she set up that whole Jeff Rayner,
the photographer, the paparazzi photographer. Yeah.
That she set it up with him so that she would have an excuse to prevent her father from coming to the wedding.
Because once he's gone, he can't defend himself. And history shows how easily silence can be rewritten. Meghan, critics argue, has already played every card available, victim of racism, of media cruelty, of royal coldness, of mental health neglect. What remains is the most devastating card of all. One that blends trauma, victimhood, and blame into an accusation that can never be fully disproven once the accused is dead. Lady Colin believes this story is being floated with surgical precision, carefully, quietly, dangerously. And if she's right, then this isn't just a family tragedy, it's a reputational execution waiting for its moment. By the time this allegation surfaced behind closed doors, the damage had already begun. Not publicly, but psychologically. Because once a story like this exists, even as a whisper, it changes everything. Every silence becomes suspicious, every refusal to reconcile becomes loaded, every explanation sounds rehearsed. Lady Colin's warning isn't casual speculation, it's about pattern recognition. She points to a method, not a moment. A slow, deliberate tactic where accusations are never made directly, but are allowed to circulate through proxies, friends, sources, commentators. A fog of implications so thick that denial later becomes meaningless. This is where the strategy becomes chilling. Because if Meghan never says the words herself, she retains plausible deniability. She can stand back and say, I never accused anyone of anything. Meanwhile, the allegation spreads anyway, unchecked, unforgettable, impossible to erase. And once public opinion absorbs it, truth becomes irrelevant. Perception wins. Lady Colin believes this is why the claim was never officially voiced. Not yet. Because timing is everything. As long as Thomas Markle is alive, he can respond, he can deny, he can sue, he can defend his name. But once he's gone, the story becomes one-sided forever. That's why she urged him to act preemptively, to record a sworn legal deposition while he still can. Not for drama, for survival. Because reputations don't die with people, they linger. And accusations like this don't need proof to destroy, they only need repetition. Thomas Markle understands the danger. So do Meghan's half-siblings. Their shock isn't performative, it's rooted in disbelief. They can't reconcile the father they knew, supportive, involved, financially sacrificial, with the monster implied by this allegation. And they're left asking the same question the public is now circling: why the total erasure? Why no hospital visit? Why no reconciliation? Why no forgiveness, even when illness stripped pride away? If this was simply a broken relationship, time would have softened it. If it was boundaries, they could have been managed quietly. But this feels permanent, surgical, absolute. And that's what makes the allegation so dangerous, because it retroactively justifies everything. If the public accepts even the possibility of abuse, then Meghan's total cutoff becomes morally untouchable. Questioning her becomes taboo. Sympathy becomes mandatory. Silence becomes protection. Lady Colin believes this is the final narrative weapon, the ultimate shield. A story so emotionally charged that no one dares challenge it without risking moral condemnation. And look at the timing. Every previous grievance has reached saturation. The racism narrative has been questioned. The media victimhood has lost impact. The royal family conflict has grown stale. The mental health claims no longer shock. Each card, once powerful, now diluted. So what comes next? According to Lady Colin, this is the nuclear option. The one allegation that trumps all others. The one that reframes every past decision as survival instead of strategy. But here's the problem. Once unleashed, this story doesn't just destroy Thomas Markle. It poisons everything around it. It stains Meghan's children with inherited controversy. It fractures families beyond repair. It creates a legacy built not on reconciliation, but accusation. And worst of all, it can never be fully disproven. That's why Lady Colin calls it irreversible. Because even if evidence never emerges, the suspicion alone becomes permanent. The internet doesn't forget, headlines don't retract emotionally, and public memory doesn't require facts, only feelings. Thomas Markle's plea has been simple. He wants peace. He wants reconciliation. He wants to meet his grandchildren before he dies. That's not a power play. That's a dying man asking for closure. And yet, the door remains shut, which brings the story back to its darkest question. If there was no abuse, why allow the rumor to live? If there was abuse, why never say it openly? And if the truth lies somewhere else entirely, why let implication do the damage instead of clarity? Lady Colin's fear isn't just for Thomas Markle, it's for the precedent. For a world where accusations can be floated without ownership, where silence becomes accusation by proxy, where reputations are destroyed not by evidence but by suggestion. Because once that line is crossed, anyone can be erased without trial. And that's why this story matters. Not because it's sensational, but because it's final. If this allegation ever fully surfaces, there will be no reconciliation arc, no healing interview, no family reunion, only damage. Permanent, irreversible damage. And Lady Colin believes that's exactly why it's being handled this way. Carefully, quietly, and when the moment is right, devastatingly. The question now isn't whether this rumor exists. It's whether it will ever be officially denied or officially unleashed. And once that happens, there will be no going back.